Hello, my name is Adam Ulrich. This is a project that I did to learn basic network sockets in Python. I wrote a game a year and a half ago, which is a board game, which I'll demo. And it's a two-player game, but I didn't implement the ability to connect over the network. The code that I've added basically is a network service inside this that knows how to initialize, decides if you're the host or the client, and then get data and send data. The send data that we send is literally mouse coordinates for a click location, and each side knows what it's supposed to do with that data. The only other changes that had to happen was implementing a new network mouse click action so that it's really the same code and probably should be refactored. If it is a network game and I'm the current player, then when I decide it's a good location, I send the data over. Otherwise, I'm sitting here waiting for a get data on this side. That's basically the workflow. There were a lot of additional changes that had to happen, and I'll walk through those in a second, starting from the top. Let's see this in action real quick. Here is some code. If we go to debug this, and let's just run what this looks like normally in a single mode so you get an idea for what the game does. Here's the game. It shows you it's the red player's turn, and the goal is to build a set of bridges from red to red, and for black to go black to black. So I'm going to go here. It's black player's turn. It's red player's turn. Black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red. And now black's going to have to get defensive over here. Red's going to go like this. Black's going to go like this. Red's going to go like that. You get the idea. Eventually, red's going to go around here and going to win. So I'll show you what a win looks like that. And the red player won because he connected both sides. Okay, that's how the game's played. So let's turn this on. Let's create a server. Okay, the server configuration is nothing more than attaching a dash server to the end of it. Okay, and we're going to start that up. And it's going to sit there and it's going to wait for a client to show up. And so I'm going to bring up here's a remote desktop connection to the same piece of code. We're going to choose the client. One thing we're going to specify is the IP address. Inside here, you'll see our IP address on my local box is this, and so we've given it a client IP address. And now it's going to run this code inside here, and it should connect. If everything worked, it connects there, and here's my local game. You're playing red on this side and playing black on this side, and it tells you who you are and an IP address for each side. Okay, this one you can see it doesn't support any clicks over here. I can click, and then you can see it shows up over here. Now it's my turn over here, and you can see black can play here, and it shows up over here. Now it's red's turn. Now it's black's turn. So on. Oh, let's do that again. Black, there we go. Red, and over here, got to click in, black, so on and so forth. So you can see the game continues to work across the network, across two different machines. Okay, so let's step through the code real quick and show you how this functions. Initially, again, when you set the arguments, that's going to come into main. Main's going to parse the arguments and set up some values inside the director. Inside the director, it's going to set those values and hand them off to the scene manager. And the scene manager then creates all the different objects for this thing. One thing it implements is the handle network mouse clicks. And it also, down here, when it gets to preparing a new game, it adds players. And inside the add players, it's going to specify information about if, depending on what kind of network, am I the client side or server side, or it's not a network game at all, it sets some values inside the player. The player then is asked to create its network. The network implements a network service with the IP address and a port, and whether it's client or server. And so then it goes off and implements that. Inside it's a init, which then calls host game. Host game decides if you're client or server, and then calls the appropriate connect host game or connect game right here. And then finally, which I showed earlier, the mouse loop, the handle network mouse click. Inside here, if you're a player, if I'm the current player and it's a network game, then we at the end of this we send data. Otherwise, we're waiting for the data to come to us. I think that's about the extent of the changes. It was fun learning about networking.